Okay, my name is Rohit. I kind of grew up with pretty much your philosophy in India. And whatever I thought with passion happened. And for the last 12 years, I'm in the US. And I used to work for somebody, decided I want to work for myself, and created multi-million-dollar business. But my biggest problem is I can't stop my mind. It's like no matter what I get, it's always going for next. So what's happening is I get all this money and satisfaction of creating new businesses, but I have no life left. I don't have time to sleep, and I can't stop. So now I have 5 businesses, and I know I'm going to have 2 more in next month or so. And how to stop it? Because my inner being wants all this money, and somehow, but if I keep going it, then I'm not going to manage other stuff, and especially my life. But if I don't do it, then I'm not happy.
The thing about the power of your emotions and the fact that you know that what you want is to be happy. It's like if you feel bored, then you want more engagement. And when you get too much engagement, then you want more ease. And if ease is allowed to go too far, then you get bored. And if engagement gets momentum going, then you feel overwhelmed. And so the important thing is to realize that the contrast is still serving you. And so if what you wanted was the satisfaction of all of that momentum, and now that momentum is requiring more of your attention than you are really comfortable in giving, then a new desire is happening. And that new desire is more ease. Whether you are asking for momentum toward a fast-paced, productive financial life, or whether what you're asking for is a slower-paced, stop and smell more of the roses life, it's still a desire that you have to line up with the momentum toward. Esther's been giving a little bit of thought to that as she spends a lot of time on airplanes and 200 nights a year in hotels or more, and so do those who are traveling with her. She is aware of wanting to keep the balance in place because she knows that the whole point of this is joyful. And when she gets too busy, then she's also not living what is flowing through her all day, every day. So the things that are coming to her from the receptive mode are, how can I continue to do these things that matter to me with less activity? And what she's noticing is more and more things take care of themselves. Fewer and fewer things need to be under her deliberate control. And then she came to realize that it's the feeling that you must control the details of your desire rather than relaxing and allowing the universe to tend to the details of your desire. It's like intending to be less action-oriented and more vibrational-oriented. It really is as simple. And while you may not be able to hear it or feel it right this red-hot minute, it really is as simple as making joy the top priority, not productivity, of making ease a higher determination. From the beginning, we have talked about who you are and this triad of intentions that you hold. 3 powerful, law-based intentions or desires that you came into this body with. The first is freedom. The second is growth. The third is joy. But they are not in that order because they are all equal. Freedom, growth, and joy. So we say that to those like you. Freedom and growth and joy. You are so free, you can choose bondage. The growth is the natural product of exposure to contrast. You can't help but come to new decisions and new desires of expansion. And the joy is what we are teaching all day, every day. So we say that to our friends, and they say, oh, we hear you, Abraham. Growth, growth, growth. Productivity, business, dollars, accomplishment, growth, growth, growth. And we say, freedom, growth, joy. Let that balance be what you're reaching for. Because momentum happens no matter where you're putting your attention. So if you put your attention on growth, 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 with the clear mind that won't stop, with this active mind that you've got, yes, of course, the momentum is going to carry you, and more, we see unlimited resources flowing to you with such power.
It did, yep.
But when you say freedom and growth and joy, and you ask yourself, how joyful am I when I'm not sleeping? How joyful am I? It feels like I have a tiger by the tail. It feels like my thoughts are thinking me. Then you just sit back, get yourself into a mode where you've regained control of your own experience, and be acknowledging that ease is now. Ease and flow. Ease and growth. Ease and flow. Because you have to acknowledge it's not about prosperity or energy that comes to anyone. Is not about how much you're able to accomplish or move about in any period of time. If that were the case, it would be completely illogical that the resources that are flowing to you and through you would be, as you compare your physical activity to the physical activity of anyone else. You already accept that it is coming from your ideas. You already accept that it is coming from your knowledge and from your good decisions. It's not coming from what you are physically able to move from one place to another. So you already acknowledge that this business of prosperity, or for that matter, any kind of success, is not about what anyone's doing. So what we're saying is you can leverage your experience even more. Let us say it to you this way. You will hear this clearly. You have leveraged your financial ability through connecting to source energy. So you have leveraged the growth part of the equation by connecting to source energy. You can also leverage the joy part of your experience by connecting to source energy.
And how to do that? So money doesn't make me happy. It's just the excitement of creating something, and, it started from scratch, and even a deal I'm here for 7 years, and now finally this month is going to close. Impossible thing, totally turned around with circumstances. Now I'm going to be there. But once I close that deal, I don't have resources to do it, and then again I'm going to spend a lot of time to make it happen. So this accomplishment makes me happy, but then I don't have time for myself. So how can I close my brain, no more business, and just get joy?
It's not about closing your brain to no more business. It's about leveraging the source energy to accomplish your business. It's about saying to the universe, I wanted that and I've got it, and now I want that and this. And this is going to sound like a very scanty analogy to you, but it will really help you as you hear it. It's like, so you live in a house with not enough closets, and it makes you really desire more closets. You have things piled around all over the place. You want more closets. And so you find a house, and the closets are amazing. They are large, and everything moves in. And so you say, this large house with all of these closets satisfies me for now. So you buy that house and you move in. And then you discover there's no kitchen in the house. And now you're living in a house with lots of closets, and now you're saying, and now I want a house with lots of closets and a kitchen. So this is the same way. You wanted prosperity. You wanted ways to flow your genius. You wanted things to focus upon. You wanted the thrill of all of that. And now you have it. You're in a house with all the closets that you were asking for. But now there is something else that is missing. And what's missing in this case is not a kitchen. It's more fun. It's more time. It's more sleep. And so now you're adding that to the equation. And the universe has the ability to give it all to you. But you have a belief that says, in order for me to have all this, I have to give up all this. And you've got to give up that belief. And that's what we've been working with here today. We want you to realize that it wasn't your work that brought all of that about. It was your alignment. And now you can find alignment for the ease, just like you found alignment for the prosperity. And so it's just about making your statement of desire and meaning it and watching for it. And don't beat the drum of, if I don't do this, then I can't have that, because I want to keep having that, but I want more of this. There's no regression. Here's what we really want you to hear. And we think you already know it, and that's why you think you have a problem that you need to talk with us about. Here is an absolute, universal, law-based statement. There is no regression. You cannot become less than you have become. You can't go back. And we think that's part of what you're talking to us about. Abraham, I've got all this going and I can't go back, and it's just going to work me to death. And we say, you don't have to go back from that. The universe can yield to you ideas and helpers and others. You see what we're getting at? But if you believe, no, I'm the only one. I'm the only one that can do this. I have to do all of this. Then you block yourself from the receptive mode that could bring you the ideas to bring you the ease. One day, Esther was sitting with the girls who were doing the registration and selling the products after an event. And everyone was very tired. It had been a very big day, an especially large group. There had been a lot of people that hadn't registered before, so there was a lot to tend to. And at the end of the day, they were exhausted, and Esther really did not want that. And so she sat with some of them to discuss, tell me from the beginning to the end, what is it that you are doing? What are you doing? What are you actually doing during the registration process, during the 20-minute segments of refreshment? Tell me, what are your activities? As Esther listened, because she had not considered it for a very long time, it had just been growing and becoming one idea after another. And so now, in the sort of overwhelmment, sort of like what you're describing, it's the same concept anyway, Esther said, well, now that I think about it, we can omit that. That's poop to value, Esther says. She learned that from her sister, poop to value. And so we can just set that aside. So from this point forward, never do that again. What else? Well, that isn't important either. That you can bundle up, we'll send it to the office, they can do it there when they have time to do it. And so just by sitting there for an hour, Esther could easily see, because she wasn't all twirled up in the overwhelmment, what could easily be omitted to give them more ease. Now, this is a very simplistic comparison to what you've got going, but there are endless things like that. The difference between being in that flow where those ideas flow and being bogged down in a feeling of overwhelmment. You can't get any good ideas from a feeling of overwhelmment. All the good ideas about how to utilize your time better, or about what things that you think you need to do that really aren't giving you much value for what they're asking of you, it will all begin to occur to you. I promise to you.
Thank you. I'll start working on joy, energy, and let's see what happens. I'll be here next year again.
That's who you are. And one more thing we'd like to remind you of. In a simpler life, you did have more joy. But that does not mean that a complex life is joyless.
I grew up in a village, and that was the happiest time.
Yeah.
I still remember everything.
Did you hear us? It does not mean that a more complex life is joyless.